What's up, guys? Welcome to Roensch Capital Charts. Today we're taking a look at the ever so popular S&P 500 ETF SPY, ticker symbol SPY, on a variety of time frames in anticipation of the next trading day, Wednesday, May 29th. All right, guys, so SPY here today finished the day up 37 cents per share. That's plus 0.07% in regular trading hours, down 30 cents in the after hours. Volume, actually, we saw volume hang on a little bit in the after hours. I'll just zoom in and show you this quick. But it subsided relatively quickly. You see it actually hung on and then tanked off. So listen, as always, take that after hours movement with a grain of salt. And let's take a look at this and get the best possible idea of where things stand heading into tomorrow that we can get. Starting with a volume profile analysis here on the 5-minute chart. Listen, by the way, if you're new here, guys, SPY is a daily upload, so I appreciate you subscribing to the channel, and I will keep these videos coming out daily. Now, if we take a peek under the hood, we know what happened with the price action. We all saw how the day ended, right? But if we look and peel back a layer of the onion, we get another layer of information, okay? The open, very contextual. Volume fades off quickly, that's very normal. Now, we go through the day, contextual, right? Very normal. The most aggressive downside move of the day, arguably, notice how we see this increase in volume, and it sustained for about 3 bars, about 15 minutes, and then faded off as soon as the bounce began. Okay, that's a slight amount, I would say about 20% bearish bias on a scale, of course, 0 to 100. 100 being the highest we could possibly have. I'd assign that about 20% bearish bias. Okay, and then heading into the close, we saw this big high volume green bar, pretty high volume red bar after the bell. Remember, guys, these are going to be primarily rebalancing bars, especially the one immediately after the bell. Notice how there's almost no movement, very little actual movement on the candle. There's a lot of wicking going on, but open to close, very little actual movement. That's because a lot of that volume is going to be made up of both buying and selling as the rebalancing algorithms trigger after the bell. We also get some of that right before the bell. On SPY, it tends to straddle the closing bell. And we see that volume pump up. But of course, we saw additional volume on top of what is normal on just an everyday move due to the nature of that higher volatility, I'll say, bullish bar heading into the close today. Now, let's move on to something that I think is a lot more simple to follow and very, very effective. The psychological self-fulfilling prophecy levels that a lot of trading decisions are going to be made around here on SPY. So starting on the 30-minute, that white line is the 50 period, the gray line is the 200 period. That's all we need here. We just want what has the most amount of eyeballs. Now, the goal today, if you were a bull, was to get this 50 period up, which we did. But ideally off the open, we would have tested that match where the 50 period is meeting up with the 200 period and bounced away hard. Ideally, that's what we would have seen. We didn't. We gave it up, retested it, rejected, retested it, and got held up into the close as well. So bears, it was a small green day, right? A very small green day, but bears on the 30-minute chart, you guys undeniably won the psychology of this day on this chart in particular. Looking ahead to tomorrow, bears, you guys would want to continue to see any upside retest of either of these levels. You'd want to see that reject hard, dragging that 50 period down with it. Bulls, get up through both ideally. They're meeting in the middle right now. Get up through both on high volume, retest the 50 on low volume, and bounce away on high. Okay, that's how the bulls win this 30-minute here tomorrow. 4-hour chart, if we take a look, you guys remember heading into the weekend, we were barely holding on to that 50 period. Well, today, make sure you have to zoom in a little more to see this. Today, we kind of barely gave it up. This is anybody's ball game. Okay, it was anyone's ball game back on Friday. Same story here today. We're basically riding on top of this thing, but bears, if we test that, you just want to see that reject. Bulls, get up through, okay, get at least to the upside, and then kind of hang out and then use that as a trampoline to bounce. Okay, it's kind of hard to say a rip through retest bounce because we're basically right on top of the thing. We just need to pick a side and then make a high volume, ideally, at least above average volume, move in the direction. Okay, that's going to tell us in a more definitive way who's winning the 4-hour chart, whereas for the last 2 days, two trading days, it's been very up in the air. Now, the daily chart, guys, this is the most important chart of all. So if you're going to watch any of these charts, it needs to be the daily because it has by far the most eyeballs. And you guys know for the last 2 weeks or so, SPY has been massively struggling with 530. That 530 to kind of 532-ish area, I'm going to call it 530. It's been a huge struggle. So the story here tomorrow, and by the way, no one has really won this. We've just been bouncing around in a tight channel. The story here tomorrow on SPY undeniably is the battle of 530. Bears, you've held off a break, but that's about all you've done. You need to reject hard and actually definitively claim that as your resistance. Nobody owns 530. We're playing patty cake, and it's time to make a decision and move in a direction on high volume. Bears, you want to reject hard. Bulls, it's your turn. I don't think I was going to let you guys off the hook. You spent 2 weeks trying to get up through that level. Unable to do so. It's time to rip through 530, ideally on as much volume as possible. Retest it, fine. Pull back, retest it, ideally on much less volume, and then the volume pours back in as you bounce off 530 and make a move into the all-time high region. Implied volatility, very important if you're trading options. You can see here, we bounced today. IV bounced pretty big today. Compared to the last week, it is now the highest it's been. Compared to the last month, I would say it's in the mid, maybe slightly lower range, more like the mid-range. Okay, compared to the last 3 months, it's still in the low, I would say, the lower range. Okay, it's not the lowest it's been, but it's in the lower range compared to the last 3 months. Important to understand where IV stands in relation to your intended trade time frame, right? That's why I'm always giving 3 different scenarios, week, month, and 3 months. All right, now, expected move for tomorrow. We, of course, have the luxury, it's very nice to have this, of daily expirations here on SPY. So, by tomorrow's close, the expected move currently being priced into the market is plus or minus $2.23 per share. That's the one standard deviation expected volatility that the traders are pricing in. So the volatility expectation is, remember, that's very important. Having a directional bias, especially if you're just trading options, is not good enough. You have to also have a volatility bias. Do you think it's going to be less or more than what the market expects? That's what the market expects. But you might be thinking, okay, well, what about directional bias? Volume. 6 million contracts traded here today. 2.68 million were calls and 3.33 million were puts. Bearish bias on the overall ratio. If we break that down by time frame, the 0 to 20 delta range, those are those short-term speculators. 1.03 million calls and 1.42 million puts. Bearish bias out of the short-term speculators as well today. Listen, guys, the restructuring of the pricing for the memberships will be finished very soon, and therefore that means the price will be increasing, but you're still able to get grandfathered in at the current rate at the link that I've put in the pinned comment. So take a look. That private community is where I've been sending out, well, over 3 years now, 3.5 years now, my daily scalp setup alerts, in-play stock alerts, unusual options activity, which are all human verified by me before the alerts get sent, and working with my Platinum one-on-one group. Hope to see you join. And by the way, if you're getting value out of the daily SPY videos, please leave a like on the video and then get out of here and enjoy your day. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.